a panel, an insight section on governance, digital and institutional reform and risk landscape. I've got Rita Mokbel from Ericsson and Minh Nguyen from Forvis Mazars. Could I get them on the screen together with me? Could we step away from presentation mode? Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Do you hear me well? Wonderful.
Hear you well.
Yes, this is great. So we're doing a little bit of a different tempo for the next 20 minutes, and that is that we have a panel discussion with the two of you. So I know that we talk a lot about Vietnam's digital transformation and how it is accelerating, both in two complementary perspectives. That is the digital infrastructure and enablement with Ericsson, and then it's the institutional reform, governance, and risk with Forvis and Mazars. So as a starting question, could you introduce yourself and at the same time answer this first question? When you look at Vietnam right now, what feels most different compared to just a few years ago? So Rita, let's start with you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Great to see you again, Christina. So my name is Rita Mokbel. I'm president CEO of Ericsson in Vietnam. I'm relatively new to Vietnam, if I can still say that. So I can't compare every detail from years ago. But what strikes me most today is the speed of change. And not only that, it's the confidence behind it. So today I see skylines lit with cranes, solar panels stretching across lands that used to be barren, students learning AI in classroom that didn't exist years ago, and 5G powering innovation from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City. And the numbers actually reflect what we feel on the ground. Throughout the session, we all discussed GDP growth above 8%, but just to put things into perspective, this is 2 times the rate of the global GDP growth and 4 times Europe GDP growth, and around 42,000 5G sites deployed in less than 18 months. In many countries, transformation takes a decade. In Vietnam, it happens in months. You can feel it in the energy of the ecosystem, talking to government, business, academia. All of these are moving in the right direction. And when I speak to all these stakeholders, the message I hear again and again is very simple. We are not just catching up. We are setting the pace.
Thank you, Rita. Over to you, Minh.
Thank you, Christina. And quick introduction. My name is Minh. I'm chairman at Forvis Mazars, and I work a lot with the European business community as vice chair of the Eurocham. And for this section today, maybe I just try to share, because I from my own standpoint, because I work a lot in policies. So I'm not really a commercial digital guy, so don't expect too much from me in that sense. A lot of change. If we go back to your question, Christina, just look at the map. We have all the new good things, infrastructure, roads, ports, highways. We even have new provinces in terms of names and boundaries, a lot of change, right? And me as a citizen, now I can do a lot of admin procedures online or using the app, the tax, e-tax or EID. It's not a super big deal, but for me, it's so interesting because it shows the phase of transition, and it's a new start for a country like Vietnam.
Thank you so much for that, setting the scene and sort of your perspectives on both a professional and personal level. I would like to start off with my next question on digital infrastructure enablement to Rita. So the first question that I have for you, Rita, and in your role as representing Ericsson, is how is the build-up of 5G and digital infrastructure shaping Vietnam's next phase as a digital economy?
That's a great question, Christina, because when we talk about 5G, it usually sounds more technical or technology, but actually it's very human and very economic. Let me start with a simple idea. Every major economic leap in history has been built on strong infrastructure. In the past, it was roads, ports, electricity, and railway. Today, it's the digital infrastructure, and 5G sits at the core of it. Another analogy I would like to share from outside the telecom. In the early 20th century, Germany realized that the future of transportation is not just only building better cars, it's actually building better roads. And the Autobahn that we all know, the fastest highway in Germany, didn't move cars faster. It actually transformed logistics, commerce, the whole competitiveness of Germany, and established Germany as a global automotive powerhouse. So today, 5G plays a very similar role. It's the digital highway. It's not only faster network, it's the backbone of the digital economy. Why is that? Because it connects everything that can be connected, people, machines, industries, securely at that scale. Sorry.
Rita's got so much digital, it's coming out of all
Exactly.
corners.
Yeah, so technologies like AI, cloud, automation, smart factories, digital healthcare are powerful, obviously. But for them to scale, they need to have the underlying road that is fast, reliable, secure, and always available. So that is the power of 5G. And this is why Vietnam's approach is so important, because they treat 5G as a critical national infrastructure. So they are not only just upgrading the network, they are building the foundation for the digital economy that they want to become. What does it mean in practice? So first, it means speed and scale. As I, again, we all are looking for cloud and an AI, but for this to scale nationally beyond offices and data center into real life use cases like factories, hospitals, schools, and cities, you need to have a strong and reliable connectivity so that AI can reach everyone. Second, 5G enables entirely new use cases. If we take today manufacturing, which is one of the most relevant industry in Vietnam, with 5G, factories can connect machines, sensors, and people in real time. So robots can be controlled remotely. Experts can log in from any part of the world, and then through augmented reality can support. And then, of course, AI can optimize production because, of course, of the ultra latency, high reliability of 5G. So this will improve productivity, the quality, and sustainability. Think, for example, about 5G in healthcare. Patients in remote areas can consult specialists in Hanoi, in Ho Chi Minh City, or even abroad. So this will help bridging the gap of accessing quality healthcare, especially in rural areas. And then, of course, those are two industries, two use cases, but this extends to port, aviation, agriculture, transportation. Many of those use cases didn't exist in the past, maybe to a certain extent start to exist today in Vietnam, but with all the investments in this infrastructure, obviously Vietnam is very well positioned to adapt them at scale. And third, the inclusive growth, because a strong digital infrastructure will improve access to education, will enable efficient digital public services like Minh mentioned today. It will create opportunities for small businesses and startups across the country and not only in major cities. Again, why it matters? Because all this digitalization has measurable economic impact. Today, our study shows an increase in mobile broadband. A 10% increase will lead to 0.8% increase in GDP growth. So in another word, connectivity is one of the fastest and most effective levers government can use to accelerate digital and economic development. So simply put it, 5G is Vietnam's digital highway. It's about productivity, competitiveness, quality of life. And as physical highways in the past enabled industrial growth, Today, we see high-performance digital networks will enable the next wave of innovation and economic growth in Vietnam.
Thank you so much, Rita. I'd like to follow up with one, if you could just answer this second part briefly. As I follow you on LinkedIn, I saw a post that you had posted last week, and you started your presentation here, or your explanation of the first question, a lot about infrastructure. And in your post, you had described, and we're stepping a little bit on the side here, you described AI as infrastructure as well, rather than a technology layer. Can you just explain that and how it relates to Vietnam?
Absolutely. So when I say AI is becoming infrastructure, I mean that it's no longer a standalone technology or feature you just add on, or it's not anymore an offer you provide. It becomes a foundational capability, like electricity, like connectivity, something that everything else is built on. I don't know if you have seen in Davos, Microsoft CEO, he mentioned as soon as AI becomes the foundation, it's not anymore a bubble. So it's not only just limited to technology. And then this is where we see AI today. It sits in how factory operates, in how healthcare is delivered, is how logistics is run, is how we are delivering our equipment and how we are operating our equipment. And that's why it becomes a technology that is embedded everywhere. And then specifically to my post, I was talking about the partnership between Apple and Google. And then this is a great example. Today, as user of the phone, if you want to use Siri, you don't mind if it is supported or the backend is Gemini or OpenAI, ChatGPT. What you care about as a user is the experience, is like, that Siri is supporting you the way that you want. So that's why, I said it becomes as AI. And then, of course, what does it mean this for Vietnam? Because for AI to scale in Vietnam, you need to have the foundation. And that's why it needs cloud, it needs to have high performance connectivity. And that's why Vietnam has a real advantage, because they are investing in all these foundation and in digital infrastructure. So they have all the needed conditions for AI to move out of data centers and go into the real use cases, real economy across industries and regions.
Thank you, Rita. And now let's pivot to you, Minh, with a focus on institutional reform and risk landscape. So my question to you, Minh, from a corporate and investor perspective, what institutional reforms matters most if Vietnam is to fully unlock its digital economy potential?
Well, I think all reforms should start with a significant change in mindset. So now is the time that I do see that there is a change in mindset across the top leadership of Vietnam. Now they clearly specify that the key pillars for growth for Vietnam will be science, technology, and digitalization. And in their eyes, digitalization must be implemented immediately and in full. So it means not really gradually. It's about their investment. So they should be all in for digitalization, right? And then you see a lot of policies coming along with that change. So back to, for example, for taxation, for example, right? So for the first time now, they do allow the double deduction for R&D expense, for example, right? So it means if a company we invest in $10 for R&D, the government will join hands with $4 in terms of tax. So it's a good news, and it's a good start, as I mentioned at the beginning, for the new phase of growth for Vietnam. 2 weeks ago, I had a very good meeting with the steering committee of the Central Party on science and technology and digitalization. And we discussed the action plan for 2026 for Vietnam, because they are going to release a resolution of the Politburo for that. And there are many interesting points. For example, digital economy should make up 15% of GDP this year. And the contribution of science, technology, innovation make up around 18% of GDP. And for infrastructure, 5G coverage, for example, should be for at least 90% of population. So I share and discuss with Rita, and then immediately Rita came back with many good comments and proposals. So we discuss again with the steering committee, and they really appreciate it. So it shows how they are willing and they're open to discuss with private sector and even us foreign companies to drive the agenda for Vietnam. Going back to digitalization, I mean, in my capacity, I'm working with foreign companies doing business here. I think digitalization also brings many business schemes, many business models, new business models. So in terms of control, we do expect governments to be more open, to give us more liberty in doing what we really have to do, because it is really about digital, right? So in Vietnam, there are, for many years, there are control over what we are allowed to do and what we are not allowed to do. So for this phase, I believe we should have more liberty, and this is something we have discussed with the governments already. And going beyond digital, I think if we talk about general growth of Vietnam, we still hope that, and we still expect that Vietnam will still stick on green transition, which I think they are. Just a couple of days ago, maybe 3 days ago, for the first time, they introduced a new regulation on carbon market, which is a good news for us. And of course, international collaboration is still a key for us to expect.
Thank you so much, Min. We would love to have more time with both of you, but as we are constrained with time today, I will move on to the question on bridging infrastructure reform and execution. And this question is to both of you. How important is public-private collaboration in ensuring the digital transformation is both fast and resilient, and what needs to improve for it to work better? So Min, I'll start with you.
I will stick to my favorite area, administration. All right. So, when we talk about digital transformation and applied on administration, I mean, administrative procedures. So we pay tax, customs, or apply for work permit or licensing, right? So Vietnam has been trying a lot to improve those platforms for companies to use. And of course, to invest in that, they need resource from private sector for sure. And from private sector, we also want the government to have the better platform for us to plug in and to work on that, right? And I will just take one example. In the past, just a few years ago, when Vietnam introduced the National Portal for Public Services, so we had to spend a lot of efforts to ask companies, ask private sector to use the platform. So only by doing so, the government can have more data. And by having more data, it can help the companies better and can help improve the system better. But it's voluntary, so it doesn't work as well as what we expected. So now they move to what? VNEID, right? And VNEID is something that is mandatory. Going forward, it is mandatory for all companies to plug in. So what I'm trying to say here is the public sector really needs the private sector to join hands in implementation of all of these digital transformation. And that's where we meet together.
Rita?
Yeah, so again, especially in digital transformation, this collaboration between public and private is very essential because it makes it fast and then at the same time resilient. Because in normal cases, when government set the direction, in general, policy, spectrum, security frameworks, the private sector can invest and innovate at scale with confidence. What is great, and from my experience in Vietnam, and Min has mentioned this, the government is very open and appreciative to any any idea of innovation, whether in regulation or in execution. So what is important here is how we can together, public and private, work on clear implementation. So faster pilots to scale, deeper ecosystem coordination, so infrastructure can translate into real productivity gains. We need to have a sandbox. We need to have, and then this is where more the private sector can contribute, platform for innovation, and this is why you can translate all the government vision into concrete outcome and results.
So I have my final question for both of you, and I'm sure you know what the question is because I've asked every speaker in the last sessions. And what is your prediction for 2026? So if we go back to Minh, in brief, what do you think will happen in 2026?
For me, 26 will be a year of full opportunities for all of us, right? Because it's the first year of adopting a lot of new policies. So it opens up a lot of opportunities for all of us, for infrastructure, for new services, and for ourselves as well, where we support companies doing business here. So I really look forward to those opportunities.
Rita?
I also believe my prediction is Vietnam will make a historic leap. They will move from being one of the world's fastest adopters of digital technology to become a true digital powerhouse. We will see more innovation in semiconductors. We will see semiconductors more designed in Vietnam, commercial drones and robots export to ASEAN countries. So they will not be only content deploying or transforming their own industries, but they will also produce and then take it away. We will see first wave of Vietnamese SMEs rising to become top tier 1 players in global supply chain. I also believe that Vietnam will make a big shift in digital transformation in terms of doubling the productivity gains in manufacturing, logistics, agriculture, and finance by bringing all this digital transformation across different industries. So in short, 2026 will not be only about setting the pace, it will be about accelerating the pace.
Fantastic. A round of applause to both Minh and Rita for their very important insights. We've had a short time with both of you. I'm sure many others will like to reach out to you and gain more insights. And I'm sure Nordchem will provide that platform. Thank you again, Rita and Minh. A round of applause to you. I'm getting hearts and applause on the screen for you.
Thank you.
If you don't see them. Thank you.